What's up? East side, what up? What up? South side, what up? Yeah.
98 is church in Anaheim, and a friend of mine took me there, a guy named Top Hat, I can share his name. He said, come on, let's go here, there's just a lot of pretty women there, and I said, church? Come on, man. He goes, come on. So we went to Set Free, and I got to listen to this man share a story, and he spoke in a language that I understood. He wasn't like, "Bobosayan ki andare," doing all that, stuff, and he wasn't going to dunk me. He allowed me to listen to the message, and he said something. He said, "Look, if the shoe doesn't fit when I'm sharing, don't wear it. I got it." So I didn't go back for a long time. It was just like, that was interesting. I went through some trials and tribulations in my life, and I started hanging out with him a little bit, getting to know him, and going to church, and then I started bringing more of my brothers to church. We used to fill up like 3 aisles with Vagos, and listen to him. And I loved his message. I loved the music, and he taught me, just by listening, he taught me that I can be who I am, and still have the love that I have for God, and that I don't have to change. Changes will happen within. People tell me all the time when they meet me today, they go, man, you're not the same guy. You're not that guy that, I got a patch for my own charter, or my own club. It's called Scandalous. Because according to them, I was even more scandalous than they were, and I just laughed about that. I'm going, well, I don't know if I deserve that. But I guess I was kind of a devious little guy for a long time, and the more I went to church, the more comfortable I started feeling with myself, and I went through a bad marriage. I didn't know what to do. I married, here's my best thinking. I am 50 and I married a 23-year-old, right? And she broke my heart, and I didn't know, what was I going to do? And I moved in with Phil. He moved me in. He said, and I hung out with him for close to a year, and I was celibate. Usually, I'd always pick a woman to fill the hole, the God spot, and I was celibate, and from there I learned a lot, and then I just went on to, I moved to Hawaii, and when I got to Hawaii, well, I started here in Riverside. I started with a garage. I had a little beat up garage, and I put a bed up in that garage, and I took an addict that needed help. Somebody came to me and said, John, I'm hurting. I said, come on, brother. I put him on the couch, and then next thing I know, somebody else comes and said, hey, I'm hurting. And I put another, next thing we know, we're building more, putting in more beds, and that's what started this whole adventure. I was addicted to crystal methamphetamine, since 1969. I started shooting heroin because that was what a Mexican does, and it just wasn't my drug of choice. And I started riding motorcycles, and the bikers back then said, you can't shoot heroin. That's bad. Speed is good. So I started doing speed, and eventually speed started doing me. I've done a lot of not so good things behind drugs, drug-induced. I was in a drug-induced psychosis for, I don't know, everything made me paranoid. I would pull shotguns on my friends because, I think that there was cops everywhere looking for me. Maybe they were, and that's what happened in 1988 when I went to the VA hospital, when I finally gave up. I said, I was kind of interesting. I was riding my motorcycle coming down from Crestline, and I couldn't do enough drugs to kill the pain. And I didn't know anything about A's. I didn't know anything about anything. And I knew that the God that my parents had brought to my attention, that God was awful punishing. That God was awful mean. I could never satisfy that God. So the more drugs I did, the more God conscience I lost. And again, I was a full-fledged, I became a full-fledged drug addict, and that day, riding my motorcycle coming down from Crestline with tears in my eyes because I couldn't stop the pain, I said these magical words. I said, God, help me. And I wound up in the VA hospital that evening, and they took me in, and they kept God. I was going, hey, screw you, let's not go there. Let's do a different kind of way. And but eventually, by reading, and I knew that there was a God myself. I believe in the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. So I knew, I mean, that's no escaping that. I tried to, but it didn't work. And that's what generated everything. That's what got everything going. I got clean in 1988, and I wish that was the end of my story. But what happened? It was self-will run riot for me. I did a lot of things incorrectly, things I don't want to talk about. But I just did things that I shouldn't do. I thought it was okay to sell crystal methamphetamine. I thought it was okay to sell weed because I wasn't using. But that life led me back to the life in that sewer where I was chasing those people around, trying to collect my money, doing things without even being high. But I was just not using. That's it. And I had a miserable life. I had no friends outside of, I had no friends. Nobody trusted me, nor did I want to be trusted. And that's what happened. And, eventually when I met Phil, I let those walls down, and I mean, he taught me an awful lot, man. I moved into Phil's house probably 2000, 2009 or 2000, because I was brokenhearted and didn't, I didn't know what to do. And he invited me to his home, and I moved with him. And like I said, I lived with him close to a year. And in that year, I did things I never thought I'd do. I'd stand out there and I'd go with him because they'd go places and share the ministry, and I was there, and I did that. I worked at a place called V Twin City. I rode my bike to work every day, came home and was blessed. I mean, things happened in that year that were magical, and when I left there, I really had no place to go. What happened after 13 years of being abstinent, after I got out, left Phil's, I went to a bar to watch some friends of mine play pool, I thought. And I picked, and she came by and said, "You want a beer?" See, I can't eat one potato chip. What makes me think I could have a beer? And what happened was, I drank that beer, and for me, at the bottom of every bottle of beer, like a mezcal worm, is a sack of dope. So I drank that beer. I was okay. The next day I came back. I drank another beer. Next thing you know, I'm drinking hard liquor. Next thing you know, I'm smoking weed. Next thing you know, I'm off and running. God saved me one more time. I did that for about 5 or 6 months, and I wound up back in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. And then I started going to church, 1987, and I was a Vietnam vet, and I was rolling around, hanging around with some of the Vagos. They liked me. The international president said, "John, would you like to be part of this organization?" And I thought about it, pondered it, and I said, "Yeah, I would," because I enjoyed them. I enjoyed those men, and I came into San Bernardino. I became a prospective member. I became a member, and I've been a member ever since. And that was 1990 that I officially got here, and I've been here ever since, and I've loved every minute of it. It's my life, It's my life. I am capable today. I am an excellent husband. My wife loves me unconditionally. I don't have thoughts of anything. I don't cheat. I'm trustworthy because I'm trustful. I trust my wife because I'm trustworthy. So I'm a good husband. I'm a great grandfather. I'm a great father today, to the grace of God. And I'm an excellent Vago. And if I can help carry the message, to one person by being who I am, then I've accomplished my goal in life. See, we can be anything we want to be. Anything. And we don't have to be that guy you were talking about, that outlaw, killer, level 4 yard on the 1 yard guy that's who he wants. I see people all the time, they get here and I tell them one thing: be who you are. The patch doesn't make the man makes the patch. So you don't have to, there's no cookie cutter Vago. They come from all walks of life. We have attorneys, we have doctors, we have me, and we all love to ride together. We all stand for each other. And yes, if you attack me, if you and other people attack me, then we will stand together. because that's just the way it is. I don't think I do. I think that the way I act and my actions do that for me. I don't, you know, if people are attracted to me, there's something they see in me. If they listen to me, if I go to a lot of meetings, I do a lot of things, and if they like what they see, then it's a program of they're attracted to me. They get to know me. Once they get to know me, that persona they had of me is gone, because that's not who I am. It trips them out. When I go, hey, you want to go to church with me? What? Yeah. This is just who I am. I'm a teddy bear, who loves Christ. Okay, and that's who I see. I don't see that other guy. People tell me that, but I don't see that. I see who I am. I see that I'm a vessel for Christ, bro. I'm that guy. I'm that guy that maybe the normal guy can't reach. All these guys in here, the normal person couldn't reach him. But the fact that for whatever reason they're drawn to me, because they think, oh, look at that old guy, he's cool, and they get here and I'm able to share a message with them, a message of recovery, and it's just, I think it's pretty awesome that's what God, that's my job. Some sow, some reap, and in this world we all have a job. As long as we're doing the next right thing for the next right reason, the next right thing's going to happen. I met my wife, right, and right after that. And my wife, this is a cool thing. My wife was not religious at all. She didn't want anything to do with religion. She started going with me to Phil's church and enjoyed the message. She said, John, I can do this. We can, I'd love this, because he shares a message that I understand. I mean, it's scripture, but in the words that I can relate to, along with my brothers that came with me, they could relate to. It was a family. And he took me in and gave me a place to stay. So my wife and I bought a little home. She bought the little home. I moved in with her, and somebody came to my door and said, it was hurting. And I said, hey, man, I'll give you a spot in my garage. Because that's what I had learned from Phil. If you want to feed, give them food. If you want to clothe, give them clothes. If you want them shelter, give them shelter. And I started doing that, and I've been doing it ever since 2001. I've never not had a home with people that need help, and I can say that God has helped a lot of them. I haven't done anything. I've just been that guy, I've been that guy that's here, that they can come to and say, like, we're just before you got here, I was working with a young man. He's 21 years old, and he's going through his own demons, and he was sitting here telling me about them, and we're sharing that that it's going to be okay, and he's getting it. We'll see, but that's all orientated by Pastor Phil. He's my hero. I mean, and he truly is my friend, and because of that, we started Set Free in Hawaii. And we opened a home. We bought a home. It had 3 bedrooms. We added 8 rooms to it, and filled it with people needing help, needing recovery.
Is that still? That's
no.
Still going? Okay.
When I left.
Transition. Okay.
Yeah. When I left, I went from there to Missouri. But got a beautiful home in Missouri, and did the same thing. People started going, hey. I'm hurt. I don't have nowhere to live. I don't have any money. I said, here, I got a couch, or I have a bed. As of right now, I have 7 people that live with me. That have, and what we do is in the morning we do morning meditation. We try to learn a little bit about our higher power and how God works in our lives. And you know what? I get this message from Phil. I don't push anything on anyone. And I had a young man in Hawaii. And this is an awesome message for me. He couldn't get the God concept. He would go, screw God, man. That, come on, man. I didn't come here for that. I want to get clean. People think they can get clean. Well, you want to get clean. Well, guess what? The bottom line is you're going to have to find a power greater than yourself. You're going to have, God's going to reveal himself to you in some kind of way. You got to look for that. If you open your eyes, you're going to find it. And for 45 days, he couldn't get it. One day he ran out of the room. He said, "Gay, John." I said, "What?" "I found my higher power." I said, "What is it?" He says, "The positive energy in my life." I said, "Okay, we can go with that." And today, you know, after that, God came into his life, and it's just the opening of a door. I've got, like I said, I've got 7 guys that are here. We do meetings. We do a lot of Narcotics Anonymous meetings because that's just what we do, AA meetings, and we just survive. It's abstinence. They live here. They follow the rules, and the rules are they're simple. Be each other's friends, keep the house clean, and don't use. And God's going to come into your life, and I had another friend here. He's going to laugh if he gets to see this. His name is Jay. I'm going to put him on Front Street, who got here and he hated God. Hated him. He'd say "screw God" every time he, another word in harder words, "screw God." My wife sat down there one day. She said, "Look, what pick a color, purple." He goes, "Okay, purple's your God. Let's leave it at that for now." And he did for a minute, But now, if you talk to him today, he's got a God of his understanding who's loving and caring, And it's not the same guy. Because this guy is a very intelligent man. Why this? Why God? Why this? If he's so big, the universe is so big, there's no explaining it. Yep, you got your answer, And that stuff happens, and I love that. I can't speak for them. I don't. That's their internal workings. I don't know. All I know is that the Vagos have always respected Pastor Phil, because he's done a lot of good for a lot of us. So there's no, my international president back then used to go to church with us, which is interesting. My international president that just stepped down, and he doesn't mind if I use his name. His name is Tata. He became a very, he started his spiritual walk with God through Pastor Phil, and now he's awesome, spiritually motivated gentleman, and that's it. All started there at Set Free, so that's how that stuff works. It does, and as far as there's no competitiveness with Set Free. They're a total different branch of the service, like the Navy. They're good men. They're good, strong men, and they carry their message. And they attract people to Set Free because of who they are, And every there's so many churches. Everybody attracts whoever, I have a friend of mine who I went to see him because he wanted to talk to me about his spiritual program, and he started preaching at me when I'm sitting there talking about, it says this in Job and Jacob and Corinthians, and instead of talking to me, he was preaching at me. And I said, I appreciate your friendship, and I'm glad that you found, he was a Vago, this young man. And I said, I'm glad you found a place that you're content with, you found Christ, that you're good. And that's it. And I just left because you know what? I don't want to be preached at. And that's what Phil does. Again, he doesn't preach at me; he teaches me. And as far as other clubs are concerned, they all think they're the best. I don't care. They could be from a mom and pop club to to everybody wants to be, in the beginning of the motorcycle. We're 50 years old, so we've been around for a minute. The Hells Angels have all that. They have the notoriety because they just have the notoriety. In the beginning, in California, there was maybe 10 motorcycle clubs, and it's grown to hundreds, And in the past, in the beginning, clubs used to try to stop other clubs from starting. It got to a point where it doesn't matter anymore. It's like we're just who we are, and that's what let it be, because we understand that that's the message he carries. He can be within. I don't think because he talks to Hells Angels, he's talking to them about me. Nor if he talks to a Mongol, who I have a lot of friends, that he's talking about me. He talks to them individually for whatever they need to be talked about. So he's carrying the message himself to those people the way he carried it to me. So it's that simple. Ask him. He thought about it for a minute. They thought about it for a minute. But then, he prayed about it, and it came to him that he's best serving all of us by staying who he is. You know, if he had gone, become a Vago, become a Hell's Angel, become a Mongol, become anybody, there would have been a separation. And he couldn't do what he does right now. I was happy that he handled his own business. You know, that things happened. He didn't initiate anything ever, but things wound up the way they were supposed to win. Sometimes a bully doesn't win, and somebody tried to bully him. And the ramifications were severe towards those people, you know. And if that was it, you know, we don't get involved with, you know, if Pastor Phil was next to me, I would definitely, nobody would ever touch him, you know. But he's got his own family, and I'm part of his family. But I'm not, you know, I can't roll out to, you know, he knows that he knows, you know, he will take care of his own business, and he did. I had complete faith in God that everything was going to be okay. I didn't even give it a second thought. I have faith in the man. I have faith in God. God didn't bring me to him, you know, and everything that happened, it happens in life, but it didn't matter to me. I still loved him. No matter what happened, I was going to love him to the end, and I will. So that, I paid not one iota of attention. If somebody came to me and said, "What about Pastor Phil?" I'd say, "Hey, you know what? You need to talk to him about it. Don't talk to me. He's my friend. I will not talk about my friend behind his back." You're nuts. Okay. You know what? He has a strict way of teaching, you know, and you don't have to be there. You know, beans and rice and Jesus Christ. You know, you don't have to be there. But if you have nothing and you want help, you would go there and learn structure. The things he did, the way he ran everything, was the way there's hundreds, I want to say thousands, I don't know, of people that have gone through, that he's helped, that are still, I'm one of them, that are still clean today, carrying the message, you know, carrying God's word on a daily basis. Had I not met that man, had God not put him in my life, I wouldn't be right here right now. So, you know, I mean, people, see, that's the problem with people. People say anything they want to say without any, you know, what kind of cult? I won't drink the Kool-Aid, you know, and I guess I'd be a member of the cult. and proudly be a member of Set Free. He's always been a tough guy. You know, I mean, there's a right way, a wrong way, and Phil's way. You know, and Phil's always been very strict about the way he expects people to do things, and it works. You know, don't break something that works. It works, and that's all I can say about that. You know, I mean, I've seen him change. I've seen him soften, and I see the man he is today, and it's like me. I'm not the same guy I was 40 years ago, 30 years ago. I'm not. The person I am, people meet me and they go, "Man, you've changed." And I say, "Thank you," you know, because that's what happens. We mature, you know, and I think that's what's happened to him. He's, you know, but he still carries the same message, you know, maybe he's just a little softer. Well, I don't know about everybody else, but but what I see is he's treated with love and affection. You know, people know who Pastor Phil is. You know, they know what he does and what he's trying to do, and that he's that guy that if you need help, you can go to him. You know, so, and he's never done anything in any vein that's angered us or angered anybody that I know. You know, and they just know that they can talk to him, and they do. Maybe off to the side, maybe without telling anybody, they can say, "Pastor Phil, man, you know, this is going on in my life and my wife," and he'll give them guidance. You know, and that's what he's doing. If he shows up somewhere, people will gravitate to him, go, "Hey, Phil, how you doing, brother? How you doing, Phil?" You know, and that'll happen throughout he'll walk in. He walked in here a couple weeks ago to a place where we're having a little party, him by himself, and he walked through and everybody's, "Hey, Phil, glad you're here. Hey, Phil, thanks for coming." You know, and that's just how it is. When I get on my motorcycle, I have nothing but contact with God of my understanding. You know, first thing I do when I get on my bike, I ask God, "It's me and you, homie. Let's go. Let's go enjoy the day. Let's go enjoy the wind. Let's enjoy life." You know, at my age, you know, I like to get on my bike and ride. You know, and it's something, it's a gift that's given to me, you know, and I love that. You know, it's every time I get on my bike, I ask God to ride with me, you know, and it's just, and I have a wonderful ride. I would tell him that I love him so much. Thank him for what he's done for me. You know, thank him for the fact that I am able to carry on what I learned. You know, I mean, it means that much to me. I've enjoyed my relationship with Pastor Phil. You know, there's so many things. You know, I remember my first ride with him. You know, the first time that we really rode together, you know, I smoked him. You know, it was, you know, and we were going to church in Hollywood. And that's when we connected well. You know, I don't remember what year that was, but I just like riding with him. You know, I enjoy all the guys there, those guys that are working hard to serve God. Those are, you know, that's, you know, the dedication. You know, I only have a small smidgen of that, but I have enough, you know, so I'm pretty happy. I am blessed today to be my age and to have the things that I have, you know, that I'm not ready to retire. You know, I'm not ready to kick, you know, I'm not sitting and watching TV. You know, I get to work with addicts and we need my help. God you know, I don't know how they get here. They call me and they go, hey, I heard that do you have a bed? And I always, if I do have, I said, yeah. If I don't, I have a couch. You know, it's giving back what was given to me. God blessed me with this life that's beyond, I can't even explain it. You know, it's just so awesome.
Keep living it. The rest of y'all, keep watching it.